The following is a presentation of TFNN. The Trader's Edge with Steve Rhodes. Call now, toll free at 1-877-927-6648 or internationally at 727-873-7618. The Trader's Edge. Now, Steve Rhodes.
Good morning, folks. Welcome to the the January 31st edition of this is the terrific Tuesday edition, I should say, of the Trader's Edge Show. I'm your host, Stevie Perseverance Rhodes, who absolutely knows that each of us should always be pioneers of our future versus prisoners of our past. Hope everyone out there is having a great day. And let's make sure we have an extraordinary one. And the easiest way to do that, well, it's to always remember that life is happening for us, not to us. That's right. When you and I make that one little 2x4 shift, well, it means we can find the gift in every set of circumstance that life is going to toss at us. Now, today, you and I, we're going to go check on the circumstance of these markets. We'll go figure out what those bulls and bears, what those buyers and sellers are communicating to you and I at just past 11 o'clock in the morning. I do want you to know I'm absolutely grateful for your presence here. But more important than that, and that's this. During this next 53 minutes, I'm here to serve you. So feel free to pick up that phone. Would love to hear from you. You can call us at 877-927-6648. Now, if you've got a question but you can't call in, you can always send me an email. For that, send that off to Steve at TFNN.com. Send it early. And in that subject heading, if you would be kind enough to put radio show question. Of course, if you're inside our Tiger's Den, well, then any and every ping will do. So let's go ahead and get this show started on terrific Tuesday. Of course, this is Tiger Financial News Network. I'm Steve Rhodes. Welcome to the show. Right now, all the U.S. indices trading the upside. Dow's up 87, S&P 25, NASDAQ 100, 111, and the Russell is up 30 points. Gold's up $4, silver up a nickel, light sweet crude up about $1, natural gas up a penny. 30-year Treasury's up one tick, trading at 129.27. Lead the charge dollar-wise. The upside, you've got Humana up $24 or 5%. Regenerate $18, 2.5%. Lennox International nearly 6% or $14. Solar Edge $12, 4%. Lam Research up about nearly $12 or 2.5%. The Shakers, Woodward Inc. off $11, that's 10%. Caterpillar down 4%. Nearly $10.25. Hubble is down $7 and change. That's off 3%. McDonald's down 7, nearly 3% there. Moderna off about $6, down 3% as well. Of course, I want to look at what you want to look at. Let's begin by taking a look at those new market profiles that have formed inside the U.S. equity future contracts. You've got the ES Mini, new support out here, 4,005, resistance 4088. The NQ supported 11,808, resistance at 12,208. In the case of the Russell, it has profile support now down at 1816, resistance 1927.20. The Dow is the only one not to form a new market profile. We can see that the Dow, that's your lower left panel, trading between trend line support and trend line resistance out there. So what took place this morning, if you take a look at it, so if you're wondering where is a logical buy the dip area, logical buy the dip area is really one of two places. One, when you're completing a intraday pattern out there, and especially if that intraday pattern is tying into price pulling back and testing support on a daily, a weekly, or monthly type time frame out here. In the case of the ES Mini, this morning it got down. It was testing the bottom of its support. In the case of the NQ, it was not testing the bottom of its new profile, but was instead testing potential support, which was its rising trend line. That is where we're going to start, is with the NQ. As I've shared with you before, when price is pulling back to a level of support, let's say on a monthly time frame, then you want to go look to the weekly and the daily, see what kind of signals are present there. If it's a bottom on the monthly, we should see some bottom signals on those time frames. In this case here, we're looking at a daily time frame. So then it's that plethora of intraday charts that I use for the equity future contract. That's going to be 10, 15, 30, 60, 120, 240, 500 or 300 minutes out there, and then the daily time frame. So now let's go switch over to those charts. And when we are approaching a potential level of support in a daily time frame, if it really is a level of support, we should see some bottom patterns on the intraday time frame charts out here. Well, boom, Voila, there you go. Now, there is a brand new profile that formed as we came at about 9 o'clock this morning on the 5-hour time frame for the NQ out here. But prior to that, what price was doing, and let's say we'll call it around the 7-8 time frame out here, what price was doing was it's trading back in the support area of its bullish structured profile. That is a support area. That profile now no longer exists, but that's what it was doing this morning, trading back into support. And near it, and it was still above its breakout level at 11,806.75. So what we know is that the daily time frame was sitting at a support area, and the NQ on a 5-hour time frame was pulling back to profile support. The 4-hour time frame, it doesn't show now because it was negated at about 10 o'clock this morning, but it did have a TD9 count pattern that had formed out here. It didn't follow all the rules when we got to the 10 a.m. time frame, but I can share with you that certainly at 7-8 o'clock it was in a was already formed bar number 8, was forming bar number 9. In the 120-minute chart, though, you can see the TD9 count bottom. That took place at 8 o'clock this morning. Come over to the 60-minute time frame chart, Rhodes Momentum Indicator signal, 7 o'clock this morning. Go to the 30-minute time frame chart, its Rhodes Momentum Indicator bottom signal, 7 a.m. Go to the 15-minute chart, its Rhodes Momentum Indicator bottom, 6:45. And then finally, there was a buy the D-point pattern at 6:40 this morning on the 10-minute chart for the NQ. So the 10-minute, the 15-minute, the 30-minute, the 60-minute, they all had bottom signals along with the 120-minute. That was why I wrote in the newsletter this morning when it was sent out at about 8 o'clock or so that price had pulled back to support, and it looks like the bottom is in for the day, just simply because of those patterns. Now, the ES Mini, you may recall, was also hitting the bottom of support. So the combination of that really with the NQ out here was enough for me to write that in the newsletter this morning and feel comfortable with that based upon the patterns that we have here. Now, where are we at the moment? Well, it's 11:13 in the morning, and the NQ on a 30-minute time frame should form, I should say, a TD9 count. That says that by noon, the pattern will be completed. And what we should see, I'm assuming that bar number 9 will complete. Once bar number 8 makes the high out there, 90% of the time, it'll go on and form a 9th bar. 10% of the time, it will go on and make that bar following bar number 9, in this case here, the high of the pattern. So those are your percentage probabilities in dealing with the TD9s out here. What should then unfold is price should then target its oscillator and change line. Now in the NQ, that looks like a pretty big drop. We're trading at 12.072. The oscillator and change line is 11.978. You know as well as I do mathematically, if price is going to move lower, so too will that oscillator and change line level. If we look for other pattern signals, well, what you and I can do is go look at that 10-minute time frame. If there's going to be some type of top that forms, you're on a 30-minute basis. Well, what's going on the time frames below them or that? In this case here, the 10-minute has a TD9 count top. So it's the 10-minute. If you're an intraday trader, you're focused on the 30-minute NQ chart and the 10-minute chart here for signals. Now, because we have a TD9 count pattern that has completed inside of both the Rhodes Momentum Indicator signal and a TD9 count top, it doesn't make it a more special top. You just have two patterns that completed at the same time. What price should now do is get back and test that oscillator change line, 12.052 or so. If price tests and rejects that line, well, then that sets the 10-minute chart into a neutral signal out there. But put the 10-minute and the 30-minute chart together for those of you that are trading the NQ from an intraday standpoint. Steve Rhodes with TFNN. We'll be right back.
Currencies, commodities, and bond markets are as important as ever right now with how they're driving the volatility in equity markets across the globe, which is why it's a great time to try out Teddy Kakestat's Tiger Forex Report. Teddy Kakestat breaks down the Forex markets every Monday using his 30-plus years of experience as a trading veteran of futures, Forex, stocks, and options. Teddy releases his weekly Tiger Forex Report every Monday morning with coverage of all the major currency pairs, including the dollar index, the euro dollar, pound dollar, dollar Swiss, dollar yen, as well as many more, and he also has weekly coverage of the crude oil market and the 30-year T-bonds, as they both influence Forex markets tremendously. When you sign up for the Tiger Forex Report, you also gain instant access to Teddy's 60-minute webinar archive he just hosted, Forex Strategies and Fundamentals, What is Behind the Tiger Forex Report. For all the details and to start your 30-day Tiger Forex Report subscription today, visit the front page of TFNN.com. TFNN, educating investors.
You might think that if you want to be successful at trading in the stock market, you're going to need a crystal ball. After all, it's impossible to predict the future, right? Like any endeavor in life, before you decide it's impossible, get some advice from the experts. You might find that it's not so impossible after all. For daily market overviews that give you direction on the key indices, selective stocks, and commodities, subscribe to the Opening Call newsletter at TFNN.com. The Opening Call newsletter is written by Basil Chapman, creator of the trading methodology known as the Chapman Wave. The Chapman Wave up-down sequence gives you an edge in identifying price turns, finding the peaks and valleys in stock prices. Get the Opening Call newsletter by Basil Chapman in your inbox every day. First-time subscribers also get a 30-day money-back guarantee. If you're not satisfied, let us know, and you'll get a full refund within 30 days of signing up. TFNN.com, educating investors.
Steve Rhodes started his trading career as a student almost 20 years ago, and the student has now become the master. Steve won the prestigious Timer of the Year award in 2018 and barely missed that mark again in 2019, finishing at number 2 for the year. An amazing accomplishment. Steve Rhodes is committed to sharing his techniques and knowledge with anyone who wants to learn, and he shares his vast amount of trading knowledge every day in his Mastering Probability newsletter. Steve's award-winning newsletter, Mastering Probability, is delivered every trading day with updates throughout the afternoon. Sign up for Steve's market newsletter, Mastering Probability, and you'll receive access to 7 of Steve's educational webinars absolutely free. At TFNN, all our newsletters come with a 30-day money-back guarantee, so you have absolutely nothing to worry about. Visit TFNN.com and try Mastering Probability 30 days risk-free today. TFNN, educating investors. Call now, toll free at 1-877-927-6648. Internationally at 727-873-7618.
Welcome back. At the Dow with 58, S&P 22, NASDAQ 104 points. So let's get to some questions that came in, a couple from yesterday. One is Intuit. I believe that was David who was looking at Intuit. David, my apology if that was you because I forget what the question was. But if we do take a look at Intuit, we can see that price on a daily basis, a very wide-ranging profile out there with the bottom at 390.84 and the top at 436.30. With price above and this is a bullish structure profile, above the center of its daily profile, price should be making its way up to 436.30. Now, you'd prefer that it holds off on making that move up there for at least one more trading session out here, because what you don't want to see is price to spike above the high from January 27th. That would mean above 428.70, because that could then trigger a TD9 count pattern. But I don't see that unfolding, at least not just yet. So over time, price should target 436. Now, if price is going to target 436, that means that what we should see, like we did last week, a second consecutive close above the top of its profile. Its profile is at 420.23. I know it's hard to read beyond the number, but last week we did get a close above that. David, you would love to see another close above that. If not, well, then that's a resistance level that you are dealing with. And above that area, we know we had the 436.30 level. That's on the daily time frame. The monthly has resistance at 442.77, and above that, 469. So Intuit looks pretty good out here. It looks like over time we should get to that 436 level. You've got some battles. We've identified where those price battles are at. If I look at the 30-minute time frame chart, Intuit top with a TD9 count. It did that at 3:30 in the afternoon on the 27th of January. Price then pulled back and found support right at its breakout level at 413.78. So thanks for waiting a day on that. I hope that helped you out. And have a terrific day. That was, again, I believe it was David who was looking for information on Intuit. The next question coming from Greg, who wanted to take a look at AEHR. And AEHR is, first I need to spell. I actually need to type while I'm speaking. And that is AEHR Test Systems. Okay, well, I'm glad that I put us through that misery out here. So what is AEHR doing? Well, it looks like there's an A to B equals CD pattern on the upside. The B point was taken out with 2.4 million shares. That B point was had 1.8 million, so 2.4. Now the B point out here is on the trading day that's labeled labeled C, part of the Chapman wave. That's the trading session of January the 18th. So if we just take a look at what that A to B equals CD pattern gives us as a price projection, we'll just simply draw the A to B level, and then what we'll do is we'll go ahead and move that to the C point out there, and we'll see that that A to B equals CD is not completed. It has a price projection of about 40.23. That being said, out here, what we do have is price pulling back and testing support today. That is its green oscillator and change line. As long as price remains above that, and there's a new profile that formed, that new profile forming yesterday, that says you've got support at 31.85 and resistance at 36.92, Greg. Price pulling back and testing that beautiful green oscillator and change line. As long as that area holds 33.67, that's a bullish signal, but you still have that resistance at the top of the profile where sellers are located. There is no resistance on the weekly chart. This wants to move higher. There is no resistance on the monthly chart, so this instrument wants to continue to move higher. If I look real quickly at the 30-minute time frame chart, why are you going to do it quickly, Steve? I don't know. I just said that. Price has pulled back. Rhodes momentum indicator top. That took place at 10 in the morning, back on January 26th, and price has finally made its way down to its breakout area. Hasn't gotten all the way down there. That would require poking the 33.26 level out there. So overall, with regard to AEHR, everything looks pretty good. You've got some battles that are dealing with. You like today's retracement as long as it continues to find support at that green oscillator and change line. So thank you for waiting an extra day as well, Greg, on ticker symbol AEHR. Inside the Tiger's Den, it is Dennis the Menace, who wants to take a look at Microsoft. And Dennis, I don't recall the question. I think it was just if we could go ahead and take a look at it for you, and thus we will. Now, in the case of Microsoft, it has a confirmed A to B equals CD pattern to the upside. What do you mean, Steve-O? Well, the B point was right here, the trading day of January 23rd. Volume there, about 32 million shares. When that was taken out, that was on January 26th, it was 33 million shares. So now you have a confirmed A to B equals CD pattern to the upside in Microsoft. If we take a look at the A to B pattern out here, actually there's a couple that we could really, I use this one here. So I use the larger one. Let me pull that up. There we go. Now let's just take that A to B point, attach that now to the C level out there. So the 1-to-1 price projection around the 256 area. Turns out at 248.12 is where you have some resistance, Dennis. That's courtesy of that weekly time frame chart. So even though price has a price projection 256 or so, you've got a battle at the 248 level. You've got a nice TD9 count monthly bottom on Microsoft. On a 30-minute time frame chart, price right now is trading above profile. That suggests that it should continue higher out there because price on a 30-minute basis is above resistance, which would either have been the oscillator and change line or at the 245.73 level. Price is trading into that gap out there, but it does look like it wants to go repair that gap. That would require getting all the way up to the low of 247.79. So when we take a look at the charts here for Microsoft, they look pretty good. You've got that nice confirmed A to B equals CD pattern. To the upside, you've got battlegrounds at that 248.12 area. So, Dennis, I hope that helps you out. If you need anything else, please let me know. Just write me back inside the Tiger's Den, publicly or privately. Next question coming in from John. John from Philly. He wants to take a look at Goldilocks. And Goldilocks, he's asked, can we go through it in detail? And the answer there is yes. And to begin doing that, we'll take a look at the monthly time frame chart here for gold. What do we know? Well, we know the following. If we take a look at that monthly chart, it's done two different things so far, really three different things so far this month. And the month ends today. Number one, price is going to close above last month's high. That is a bullish signal. If you take a look at last month, it closed above the prior month's high out there. So that's bullish for Goldilocks. The second thing, it is going to close above, or it appears it will close above its green oscillator and change line. That's at 1871. That is a bullish signal. That says you go back to those highs. Then lastly, price appears that it will close above 1895.10, the top of its monthly profile. So when we take a look at a monthly chart for Goldilocks, John, it is bullish no matter how we slice and dice it. If we take a look at the weekly time frame chart, the weekly time frame chart negated a TD 9-count top. There's an A to B equals CD pattern. You can see that. I haven't extended it. I just am showing the 1-to-1 level. So a bearish reversal candle would confirm a sell the D point pattern. We don't have that. Price is above the top of its bearish structured profile. It's green oscillator and change line. No topping signal in play. It wants higher price. When we look at the daily time frame is the fly in the financial ointment, so to speak. What did it do? Well, this formed a TD 9-count top. It completed that pattern in the bar following bar number 9. That was on January 26. What has transpired since then is price has pulled back and it has tested support. Earlier in the show, I said, where is the buy the D point patterns? Well, most certainly in a bull run, and the weekly and the monthly chart for gold suggests that we are in a bull run out here. Then the buy the D point becomes the bottom of that profile. That was at 1930.80. Price right now trade at 1942. But price needs to close above the high from just a few days ago in order for gold to be on its merry way, and that high is at 1966.50. Steve Rhodes with TFNN. We'll be right back. We'll finish off taking a look at Goldilocks for John in Philly.
If you want to take advantage of this sector, now is the time to subscribe to my Gold Report. The Gold Report is a comprehensive look at the metals sector as well as the markets that move gold, which is the currency and bond markets. New subscribers get a 30-day money-back guarantee, so you have nothing to lose. Every Monday morning, I publish the Gold Report with coverage of gold, silver, bonds, the XAU, HUI, GDX, as well as more than 30 different mining equities. To see for yourself the types of profitable trades that are recommended within the Gold Report, sign up now by visiting TFNN.com. Don't miss out on the next great gold trade. Sign up today.
TFNN is excited about our new software charting program, The Art of Timing the Trade Charts. In collaboration with Tom O'Brien and using his best-selling book, The Art of Timing the Trade, Your Ultimate Trading Mastery System, David White has programmed an outstanding piece of software that will complement any trader's methodology. Using this first-of-its-kind program, The Art of Timing the Trade Charts allows you to scan thousands of stocks for Fibonacci formation setups, including Gartley's, ABC's, butterflies, and much more. The Art of Timing the Trade Charts is designed to help you when scouring the markets for stocks just beginning to form the trading patterns that many investors spend days, weeks, or even months searching to find. And right now, we're offering licenses available at only $79 a month. We are so confident that you're going to love this new charting software that will even give you a 30-day unconditional money-back guarantee. Don't miss out on this incredible new piece of software. Get your copy of The Art of Timing the Trade Charts today by visiting TFNN.com.
Sharpening your skills as an investor is like getting better at playing a musical instrument. You have to practice, sure, but you also need excellent instruction from experts. At TFNN, you'll get advice and guidance from the authority in technical market analysis. And it's not just dry, tedious text either. TFNN airs live financial content streamed live on TFNN.com and TFNN's YouTube channel with Tiger TV, live every market day from 8:30 a.m. to 4 p.m. Eastern, for free. Each host is an experienced trader and gives their take on the market while taking calls and questions live from around the world. From the moment the market opens until the closing bell sounds, Tiger TV has 8 different shows with expert hosts to help you make the right moves with your money. Watch online at TFNN.com or on TFNN's YouTube channel and become the investor you were born to be. TFNN, educating investors.
This segment is brought to you by Thinkorswim. For more information, just click the Thinkorswim banner on the front page of TFNN.com.
Welcome back, folks. So we're taking a look at Goldilocks before the breakout here on a short-term time frame. And one of the things I wanted to come back to it, you can see a nice Rhodes Momentum Indicator bottom pattern. That went ahead and completed this morning at about 8 o'clock. Look, folks, this is a great pattern out here. Not because I named it, not because I developed it. It's a great pattern because of how it works. And it works for all time frames, all instruments. It doesn't matter what you're trading out there. This is a pattern you should really learn. Both for the tops as well as the bottoms out there. You can just subscribe to Mastering Probability for 29 days. It costs you nothing. You're going to end up with a tool that's going to make you a lot of bread out there. If we take a look at that 30-minute time frame chart, another tool that we like to teach and use out here is the TD9 count. Well, bar number 8 just completed. That's the high of the pattern. As you recall, once we get to bar number 8, about 90% of the time, it'll go ahead and get a completed TD9 count. So we got a 90% chance on a 30-minute time frame that we're going to have a TD9 count pattern that will form by 12 noon and complete by 12:30. That would suggest that we should see Goldilocks at least pull back to its oscillator and change line. Right now, that's printed at 1933. I'm not saying it'll get to 1933. That line can move higher as price moves sideways, things along those lines. So you are getting ready potentially for a short-term top inside of Goldilocks. That's courtesy of the 30-minute time frame. The very last thing that I will point out to folks, because there are some people that believe that gold is not in a bull market. Well, those people, they are not the people that live in the United Kingdom or in Japan. Or what I should say is they are not people that use pounds for their local currency or yen. Why is that? Well, because today gold hit a new all-time high in terms of yen. The old one, that took place back on the trading day of April the 19th. By the way, the all-time high with regard to gold, or the most recent high out here, March the 28th, was where we got to that 2,078 level. You can see here gold in pounds got almost all the way up to that 1581.60 high out there. So it isn't a bull market, most certainly in Japan and in the United Kingdom. With regard to euros, we're a ways away from the high, just as we are at gold priced in dollars out there. What does all that tell us? Well, look, the one thing that this tells us, and again today, it's just a confirming message of what we have seen in the past, is when gold makes a major top, it will do so in all major currencies at or about the same time. Geez, we just had a new all-time high in terms of gold priced in yen. We've had new all-time highs with gold and euros and pounds that topped after the date of the U.S. dollar. So we've been getting all kinds of signals that gold is going to move higher. That doesn't mean we're not moving back and forth or what have you, but this is a very positive message as well with regard to Goldilocks. So, John, I hope that helps you out with regard to what gold is doing. Let's go to our next question out here. Next question coming in from Duncan Steve. Duncan wants to take a look at Mosaic. MOS is the ticker symbol out there. Give me a moment. We'll get to those charts. One moment here. That's not the chart I wanted. I wanted this set of charts. This should be Mosaic. There we go. So Mosaic. Now, what a crazy bar this is. I have to assume this is a real bar out here from January the 24th. So here's what we do know. We take a look at Mosaic on a daily time frame. Price is trading above its green oscillator and change line and the top of its daily profile. And no topping pattern in place as we speak. That says it wants higher. And that higher price, the next price target, you don't see the chart. Son of a gun. Thank you, Mr. Bill. Appreciate that for being my wingman this morning. Here is that chart or set of charts right now. So again, back to Mosaic on the left-hand panel out there. You can see price above the top of its profile, which is 47.36, as well as the top of its or above its green oscillator and change line, which is 47.75. Those are both bullish conditions. That then says our target is 51.83, a TD9 count breakdown level out there. If we take a look at Mosaic on a weekly time frame, price pulls back to its breakout level. That breakout level was established at 42.35. It did that last week. Nice move higher. You're within inside its sell zone on a weekly basis. So you've got some resistance. Fasten your seatbelts. Price still wants to get to 51.83, but you're going to get lots of rocks thrown at you between 49.46 and 52.96. On a monthly time frame chart, price above the top of the profile, but below the green oscillator and change line. So we're going to go with a neutral style signal here. Now, Today will become bar number 8 out here. But in order for a TD 9-count top to occur, in the next couple of days, price would need to spike above bar number 3. That high is 50.40. If that were to occur over the next couple of days, you could get a TD 9-count bottom. The reason Stevie says could is because in order for bar number 8 to complete, tomorrow price must close above 49.18. And I don't know whether that will happen or not. So that's what's going on. We take a look at Mosaic. If I switch over real quickly, take a look at the 30-minute time frame chart. What we're going to notice out here, Duncan, is that price pulled back and found support at its breakout level at 48.25. That was testing that yesterday afternoon. And just yesterday afternoon out there. So support has held inside the Mosaic. This thing should continue to churn and burn to the upside, but you're going to have a bit of a rocky roads, if you will. So hope that helps you out. Let me know if you need any additional information. The next question coming in from Irene. And Irene wants to go take a look at ticker symbol AMC. So we take a look at the movie theater chain out here. What we notice is that price is consolidating on its daily time frame, Irene, with inside its daily profile. That's between a range of 462 to 627. Now what we also see is price has been pulling back, so you're trading with inside that profile. And what price did yesterday was it tested and rejected that red oscillator and change line. That's what you want to continue to see, but if price does close below that, that tells you that price should then target 462. So we've got a consolidation with inside profiles. Well, it turns out we have the same pattern on a weekly basis. That runs from 431 to 592 out there. I don't see any bottom signal on a weekly basis, nor do I on a monthly. The monthly chart is below profile, and that suggests that we could see a run back to its breakout level of $1.91. Let me take a quick peek at a 30-minute time frame chart for the AMC out here, and what we will see as soon as Stevie can expand it is a TD 9-count bottom. Price is above its profile, above its oscillator and change line. It would like to make a run towards 534. That's what's going on in the short-term time frame. On the daily time frame, again, as long as price remains above 497, you should see a move up towards 627. Below 497, what you're looking at is a run back to 462. So Irene, nice to hear from you. I hope that helps you out. And if you have any further questions, please write back to me. The next question coming in from Hector and the fuel injector, and that would be Patty. They want to take a look at ticker symbol CF. Now, I haven't read the questions. I was just kind of going along fairly quickly out here. I probably should read the questions. That would be helpful because you wrote in, you want a specific piece of information. Let's see if I can find that for you. So, in the case of Hector, it was just CF. Oh, you sent this in yesterday, and I overlooked that. My apologies. CF had a great volume day at the $96 level, and a weekly A to B equals CD by the D point looks here to be correct. So it's asking about a buy the D point pattern on a weekly time frame. So let's do this. I'm going to draw it in on this this white background set of charts out here. I'm going to draw in the A to B point. Everybody can see that A to B. In fact, everybody can see the C point. It's very specific. Where's the next high after that B point? That's where we're going to take this A to B line. We're going to move it over there, and voila, there's your 1-to-1. Now, what you're lacking here, Hector and Patty, is what Stevie calls confirmation, and that is a bullish reversal candle. And we just don't have that as we speak just yet. So is there an A to B equals CD to the downside? Yes. Has it completed? I will say it's completed. We get that bullish reversal candle, and that is on ticker symbol CF, CF Industries. We'll be right back.
You might think that if you want to be successful at trading in the stock market, you're going to need a crystal ball. After all, it's impossible to predict the future, right? Like any endeavor in life, before you decide it's impossible, get some advice from the experts. You might find that it's not so impossible after all. For daily market overviews that give you direction on the key indices, selective stocks, and commodities, subscribe to the Opening Call newsletter at TFNN.com. The Opening Call newsletter is written by Basil Chapman, creator of the trading methodology known as the Chapman Wave. The Chapman Wave up-down sequence gives you an edge in identifying price turns, finding the peaks and valleys in stock prices. Get the Opening Call newsletter by Basil Chapman in your inbox every day. First-time subscribers also get a 30-day money-back guarantee. If you're not satisfied, let us know, and you'll get a full refund within 30 days of signing up. TFNN.com, educating investors.
The technology around us is changing every day. With so much happening, it can seem impossible to keep up with all the information. David White's investment newsletter, The Technology Insider, is designed to give you all the information you need to understand the technology that shapes today's markets and tomorrow's future. David White has made his living staying on the cutting edge of technology. His weekly newsletter will give you specific recommendations for value tech stocks, as well as entry prices, target prices, and stops to set for each trade. Dave delivers his weekly newsletters every Friday with updates throughout the week. You can get the Technology Insider at TFNN.com for only $37.50. Sign up for David's newsletter, The Technology Insider, and get an inside look at everything the technology sector has to offer. Try it risk-free today with our 30-day money-back guarantee. TFNN, educating investors.
Are China A-shares hot or not? If you trade China A-shares, now may be time to take a closer look. Trade CHAU or CHAD, Directions Daily CSI 300 China A-share Bull and Bear ETFs. China A-shares in either direction. Visit directioninvestments.com today. An investor should consider the investment objectives, risks, charges, and expenses of the Direction shares carefully before investing. The prospectus and summary prospectus contain this and other information about Direction shares. To obtain a prospectus or summary prospectus, please contact Direction shares at 866-476-7523. The prospectus or summary prospectus should be read carefully before investing. An investment in the funds is subject to risk, including the possible loss of principal. The funds are designed to be utilized only by sophisticated investors such as traders and active investors. Distributor Foreside Fund Services, LLC.
This program is brought to you by Vista Gold, traded on the NYSE American and TSX under the symbol VGZ.
Welcome back, folks. So we're taking a look at the charts here for CF Industries on the daily time frame. So we covered the weekly. That was a question about the A to B equals CD pattern, which has completed at least the one-to-one price projection, but it has not provided us with a bullish reversal candle. And that's what Stevie prefers in order to confirm a top or bottom. In this case here, it'd be a bottom pattern. On the daily time frame, Hector and Patty, you do have a nice TD9 count bottom with price just consolidating between 81.43 and 85.98 out there. The monthly time frame chart, price is below profile. So the monthly chart is saying, it's kind of suspect out here. The weekly chart has done the one-to-one A to B equals CD, but no bullish reversal candle. So the only thing you can really hang your hat on with regard to CF is the daily time frame out there, which, as we discussed, has that consolidating pattern. Not unusual for CF to be to the upside today. Why is that, Stevie? Well, if we just take a look at the Texas two-step out here, and that is taking a look at consecutive closes, either higher above the prior close or consecutive closes lower below the prior close out there, which would be in red digits. The black digits are the higher closes. Well, you'll see that most of the time you would get a 2, 3, maybe a 4-day rally. Mostly it's a two-day rally out there. You get the same kind of thing to the downside. Doesn't work always, but yesterday was bar number 2 to the downside. Not surprising that we have a move to the upside inside of CF Industries. So I hope that helps you out, Hector and Patty. If not, please write back. And my apology for overlooking your email from yesterday. Let's go to our next request out here. This is from HD. And HD wants to go take a look at XEL and is looking to enter a long position here. So XEL is trading right now at 67.82. It's testing the bottom of its daily profile. HD, that's at 67.55. So one possible entry area for a long position, we talked about this during the show today, is when price pulls back to the bottom of a profile. So it's done that. It did that today. 67.55 is one possible area. If price were to close below that, well, then we'd be looking at perhaps 65.20, which is the top of the weekly profile. As you'll see, the weekly profile, the weekly chart shows a TD9 count top price is below its red oscillator and change line, that is a signal that price wants to move lower out there. The monthly time frame, a consolidation between profiles between 6107 and 7452. So it's really kind of the daily time frame chart and the intraday. The daily is back at support. The only intraday time frame that I have right now with this set of charts out here is a 30-minute time frame. So let's go take a look at it, see what it is doing. What it is doing is it is testing breakout support at 67.68. That is held, so that's kind of a bullish thing. If price closes below that, certainly for 2 consecutive bars, well, then that would be suggesting to you and I that its intent is to move a bit lower out there. So the 30-minute chart has got some potential. The daily chart has potential as well out there. As far as what today is doing volume-wise, so far you're at about 704,000 shares as it goes into the trading day from the 20th, which had 2.8 million shares. So it's not like it's going to go ahead and bust. Not that it can't, but it does not appear that price is going to go bust out that swing point low that has the volume out there, because you're pulling back with light volume. That is XEL Energy, and that was for HD. The next question, the last question I believe that I've got, is with regard to the SMHs. That comes from Nicholas, and apparently I overlooked Nicholas's question as well. My apology for that. Nicholas's question was, what would negate an A to B equals CD pattern for the SMHs? Now, what I'm going to do here is I'm going to switch over to my other set of charts out there. And the reason is because we just simply can use that A to B equals CD tool. I just haven't paid my programmer the money to go ahead and redo that on this white background set of charts, just because I've got it in a couple of different spots. So now let's get back to the SMHs out here. We're on the black background charts, and I'm not sure which A to B equals CD pattern that Nicholas was asking about. But let's take a look at the daily A to B equals CD pattern, or a daily A to B equals CD pattern, because there's at least 2 out here. The first one that we're looking at, or the smaller one I should say, the B point completes on January 18th. It's just a 2-day pullback. When that B point is passed, which had the B point 4.6 million shares, it was passed with 6.4 million shares. It did that on January 23rd. That confirmed at least a 1-to-1 A to B equals CD to the upside, with a price projection, Nicholas, of 254. What would negate this? It would be a close below the C point from January 19th, and that level is at 219.72. Price right now consolidated with inside the daily profile, the SMHs, getting back and testing 232.60 was a buy the dip point out there. A close below that would make that buy the dip somewhat suspect. That's the daily time frame. If I go over to the weekly time frame, we could do that on the daily chart. I'm just going to do it on the weekly chart. We're going to take a look at the larger A to B equals CD pattern for the SMHs. We'll go take a look at volume. The A point, again, pretty easy. That's the October low. The B point, that was the high from December 12th, 2022. That retracement was a 3-week retracement into the low right after Christmas, and that was on the at the 196.53 level. Now, last week, price closed above the swing point from the week of December 12th, which had volume of 20 million shares. It was passed last week with 20 million shares. So the same, 24.67 versus 27.11. It was just slightly higher with regard to the swing point. What would negate this now? What would negate this is a close below 196.53, the C point of that A to B equals CD pattern. So, Nicholas, I hope that helped answer your questions with regard to A to B equals CD patterns for the SMHs, and thank you so much for taking the time to write in, and my apology to you for overlooking your question. We do have another question. It is from Frank in the Tiger's Den. Frank from Massachusetts. He wants to take a look at FXI for a swing trade. So for FXI, what we'll do is I'll get that going on my white background set of charts. We'll go ahead and move over there so Mr. Bill doesn't have to say, hey, Steve-O, where are those charts you're talking about? Well, we're going to see them right now. Those are the white background charts. Your question, or what you're trying to do, is trade FXI to the short side. Now, you do know FXI is a Chinese stock, and you really should, or ETF, you really should understand what is inside FXI. And you've got currency issues to deal with here. But I'll just share with you what the charts are communicating to me. And at this stage here, see if there was an A to B equals CD pattern. That's the first thing. What patterns are in play out here? So if we were to draw in the A to B equals CD pattern, and I don't know that it's completed, but the A point would be all the way down here from the trading day of October 31st. We get that up to that TD9 count top. I'm just simply going to move this to the low that takes place after that TD9 count, and that C point, and then we'll figure out where that price projection is. So that's all the way to about right here. And so we can see the A to B equals CD pattern has not completed. Its 1-to-1 price projection should take us up into the 35.87 level. Now, the only thing that negates that would be closing below that trading session from December the 20th. Prices gap down. We don't have that completed pattern, and you're just trading with inside of profile. Would I take a short trade now? The answer would be no. Why? Because support is at the bottom of that profile, and that's at 31.27. This is printing right now at about 31.89 out there. So FXI on the daily time frame, if you're going to trade this to the short side, where are you going to trade this from? I'll take a look at the intraday chart, the 30-minute chart. We'll get back while we're going to this breakout here. Look at the weekly as well, see if I can figure out, looks like the weekly has a A to B equals CD pattern as well. It was passed with 218 million. Yeah, and that was 221. Steve Rhodes will be right back.
If you're looking for potential trading setups in the stock market, then Rocket Equities and Options Report is a newsletter you should try. Tommy O'Brien delivers options and equity trades when the markets present them, using a combination of fundamentals and technicals. Sign up for Rocket Equities and Options Report today with a 30-day money-back guarantee, so you have nothing to risk. For all the details and to start your subscription today, visit the front page of TFNN.com. TFNN, educating investors.
You might think that if you want to be successful at trading in the stock market, you're going to need a crystal ball. After all, it's impossible to predict the future, right? Like any endeavor in life, before you decide it's impossible, get some advice from the experts. You might find that it's not so impossible after all. For daily market overviews that give you direction on the key indices, selective stocks, and commodities, subscribe to the Opening Call newsletter at TFNN.com. The Opening Call newsletter is written by Basil Chapman, creator of the trading methodology known as the Chapman Wave. The Chapman Wave up-down sequence gives you an edge in identifying price turns, finding the peaks and valleys in stock prices. Get the Opening Call newsletter by Basil Chapman in your inbox every day. First-time subscribers also get a 30-day money-back guarantee. If you're not satisfied, let us know, and you'll get a full refund within 30 days of signing up. TFNN.com, educating investors.
Everything in the universe is governed by the Fibonacci sequence. This mathematical principle is responsible for everything from the most aesthetically pleasing artwork to patterns in the stock market. To stay on top of stock patterns you can take advantage of, sign up for the Fibonacci 24/7 newsletter at TFNN.com. When you subscribe, you'll get a weekly report from veteran day trader Larry Pesavento on stocks you need to pay attention to. And you can trust Larry's analysis. After all, he's got 45 years experience as a day trader. Larry will also provide daily charts, videos, and data on the key markets that he's tracking. Expect notifications from Larry on market movement you need to act on at any time. First-time subscribers also get a 30-day money-back guarantee. If you're not satisfied, let us know and you'll get a full refund within 30 days of signing up. Subscribe to the Fibonacci 24/7 newsletter today. TFNN.com, educating investors.
TFNN has launched the Tiger's Den. Hosted at Discord, TFNN has been educating traders for more than 20 years with live programming hosted by a variety of professional traders during market hours. The Tiger's Den, available to all tigers and tigresses for just $1 for the year. There's no catch or added costs when you join our community of traders. Sign up today and become a part of this educational community of traders. Just visit the front page of TFNN.com.
Welcome back, folks. So we spent the most of the morning when we take a look at charts here of instruments that we're pulling back and testing levels of support, profile levels of support, trend line levels of support, or the oscillator and change line. When we take a look at FXI, Frank, the only signal that I see out here is looking at these four different time frames, daily, weekly, monthly, and the 30-minute. of a potential top was the monthly chart, as price this week was getting back. I take that back. Last week was getting back and testing that swing, not the swing point, testing the top of its profile. The top of the profile is 33.43. Last week, price got up to 33.38. So that's the only signal that I see out there of a potential support, of resistance, where price got up towards resistance. Now, while that was taking place, what also occurred, and this is at 10 o'clock in the morning on January 27, what also occurred was a TD9 count top. Now, I would definitely tell you not to take that trade now because there's a TD9 count bottom. So from a momentum standpoint, there's a couple of different ways you could trade this. If you got a hankering to go short FXI, what you want to do is wait for price to close below the bottom of that TD9 count. That's at 31.58. You might say, well, shoot, Steve, we're at 31.87 or so right now. Why shouldn't I take that trade? Well, because it's got to negate that pattern, that TD9 count pattern out there. Right now, price is holding on to the bottom of that 30-minute profile out there. That's how I would do it. As far as where else would you sell if FXI moves higher, I'd wait for some kind of pattern. What pattern? Well, the TD9 count seems to be working pretty well for FXI on this 30-minute time frame. So that's certainly one that I would throw out there. So Frank, I hope that helps you out with regard to FXI. I don't think you missed out on the opportunity. I don't really think that it was that clear. Although put together shorter term time frames with the daily. If there's a theme of today, it is how we evaluate charts and what goes on. Many of you may have woke up, saw that futures were trading lower. The question is, what does that mean? What's taking place overnight on those intraday chart patterns, especially while price gets back to levels of support? So I hope that helped you out, folks. I look forward to seeing you tomorrow on Wonderful Wednesday. Please have a terrific Tuesday. Take care and be safe out there.